your sound is going to be like a combination of your influences and techniques that you've learned and like finding your voice. The more authentic you are in your music and your approach to marketing yourself, I think it resonates with people more than people trying too hard or like following trends that are a little too late.
Here we are on the Weird Music Podcast with Maddy O'Neal. Maddy, glad to have you here. So to start this off, for anyone out there listening, Maddy O'Neal is a widely acclaimed EDM producer. So Maddy, you've played Electric Forest, Red Rocks, you've achieved these like rock star dreams, and I'm wondering what that's taught you about life, about what really matters, and like fulfillment and satisfaction playing that packed Red Rocks show and then coming down from that high.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, it's like, I think the coolest part about the whole journey as an artist and, reaching those goals and setting those and like the whole journey in between is like, I was also growing as a person and as an artist, like through that, you know what I mean? So it was like, it felt to me like a really authentic process, because like I've kind of like lived my whole career like setting goals for myself or saying yes to opportunities that like I might not actually be ready for, but like putting a goal there and then meeting myself there when I was prepared for it. For example, this isn't like a show goal, but I taught like a women in music retreat in Costa Rica in January of 2020, I think. And when someone hit me up about it, they were like, hey, do you want to like come teach a 12-hour music curriculum, Ableton, basically be the head of the production portion of their retreat? And I had never had any teaching experience at all, but I said yes. I was like, fuck yeah, I'll do it. I'll figure it out. I know what I'm doing. I use this software every day. I've never taught it before, but yes, sure. I'll come to Costa Rica and teach a 12-hour class. So, in the 3 months that I had to prepare, I like learned how to be a teacher, and I, made a 12-hour written curriculum of like a beginner's course on how to produce music. And it was awesome, and saying yes to those things that scare you usually get you to that next level of where you want to be. It's hard to like even process the things that I have done or accomplished, because I feel like this life moves really fast too. So I have to like remind myself to sit down and take in and think about where I was 4 years ago and how I got here, and, just have those moments of like, this is real life.
So you're very well acquainted with the ups and downs of being a musician, an artist, a touring musician. There can be some real lulls. Life on the road can be really tough. What have you learned about proper mental health habits and approach from being a musician?
It's all about balance. And before I learned how to like recharge myself or like come off the road and like have the me time balance out just my life in general, it was really hard for me I would come home and like be depressed after a really long tour. And I was just used to like stimulation all the time and like being around people and, just like a nonstop schedule. And I thought that I wanted that all the time because I was used to it all the time. But then I was like, I need the other part. I need to come home and do yoga and, not talk to people for like a couple days. You know what I mean? And like taking care of my body was a huge, I just got back from a massage appointment before I was here. That's what took a little longer for me to get here. But like all of those things are like so important, like taking care of your body. It's all connected, you have to make time for and pay attention to what your body and mind need. Otherwise, you're just going to get lost in the sauce. You know what I mean?
Looking at your music and saying, there's other really talented producers and DJs who who don't really get discovered, who people don't just know about. And my question for you is, what do you think it was that kind of set you apart as you were, really breaking out?
I think there's a lot of factors. I feel really lucky sometimes to have, been in the community and had the people around me that I did. I think community is a huge part of like any artist's career when they're first coming up, and luckily in Colorado, as opposed to like New York or some other places where it's more competitive, we have a really awesome community that kind of like looks out for each other, and it's like we're stronger together mentality. We all kind of like helped each other out and promoted each other's music, and put each other on shows and like paid attention to what was going on, and who was working hard. So I think that was a really big factor in kind of like getting the attention, I guess. Just kind of like immersing myself in the community that was like right in front of me. I've definitely always, back to kind of like the authenticity aspect, I've never tried to like chase trends. Because like if you're, trap's really popular right now. By the time you get to a point where you're making good trap, it's going to be on to the next trend. You know what I mean? So you can't chase what's hot. You just have to like stay true to yourself and learn as much as you can, because at the end of the day, your sound is going to be like a combination of your influences and techniques that you've learned, and like finding your voice. So I think the more authentic you are in your music and your approach to marketing yourself, to me that stands out when I see other people doing that. And I think it resonates with people more than people trying too hard or like following trends that are a little too late.
Can you take me back to that time? Tell me the story of when you were like, okay, I'm going all in on producing.
Well, I started making music when I was a sophomore. Started producing when I was a sophomore in college at CU Boulder. And like at that time, I like had no idea that it was even possible to have like a career. I mean, I did, but like it was, I was just having fun. When I left my old music project that I was in for 5 years and started my solo thing, that's like really where I was like, this is it. I'm putting everything I have into this, like full force, nothing can stop me vibes. So, but yeah, just to brief you on that, I was in a solo or a duo project for 5 years initially. So yeah, so the Maddy project is kind of like 5 years old, I think 2016. I've been doing it for longer, but when I started that project, it was kind of like felt like I was where I was supposed to be, kind of thing.
When you look back, what things come to mind that you might have done differently? How would you have done them differently if you could?
I think that all of the mistakes that I've made have made me learn so much. So like I want to live my life like I don't have regrets. You have to look at all of those, all the dumb shit that you might have done, or, you know, shouldn't have taken that show, or, whoops, I got fucked over by that promoter, like stuff like that. I think it all taught me something in the end and made me a better artist, human, performer, whatever the experience may be. So I definitely maybe would have partied a little less for a couple of years. I wasted, more time than I would like to, getting caught up in the lifestyle, but that taught me something too. And now I'm extremely focused. So
Can you tell me about some things that you think are often misunderstood or overlooked about making music, about being an artist by up and coming producers?
I think that especially in the world that we're living in right now, everyone kind of like has this like instant gratification mentality, even just like with the internet, everyone wants like results immediately because everything's at our fingertips. And I think that people underestimate like just the time that it takes to learn and find your sound, number one, and just like, you know, getting yourself out there. It's like it takes years and years to build your fan base. And, you know, I feel like I'm still getting started too, you know, in some aspects. You know, you get to a point and you're like, okay, wow, now I have this much further to go to where I want to be, you know. Just kind of like being patient with yourself too. And everyone wants to give up over and over again because it's fucking hard learning how to produce. And you know, especially when you have other jobs and you're trying to do both, you just got to stick with it. So yeah, time.
So Maddy, thinking about your absolute favorite music, whether it's EDM, but also all kinds of music, can you share with me some distinct qualities that are like, okay, I love this because of reason X, Y, and Z?
Yeah, I mean, I listen to all types of music. It's definitely like it's got to be funky. It's got to be like glitchy. These are just words that are coming to my all the things that I like kind of. Do you know who Jerry Folk is?
No.
It's a lot of these like kind of like indie producers. Roman Silver is another good example. He's amazing. I definitely am gravitating a lot more to like melodic, funky, kind of like old school soul has always been like a big thing. Uh, I love bass music, don't get me wrong, but it's got to like make you feel something also. There's always a common denominator of like if a song can like make you go somewhere else when you listen to it, if it can just kind of like take over, make you feel a certain way or take you back to like a certain place in time, like give you that nostalgic feeling. That's what makes music really incredible, is that it has the power to do that. And when you hear an incredible song, you're just like, what just happened? You know what I mean? So I think that's it. And people resonate with that on all different levels with different experiences.
I'm curious how you actively, as the puppet master, work that into your music.
Michael Menner tweeted about this at one point, and it was like sometimes when I'm working, I like it's like I black out. Like I'm like, how did I just make that song? You're like, when I'm done, I'm like, what the fuck did I just do? So like if I'm so in the moment when I'm making something and it just kind of like flows, I think that's when it taps closer to that vibe than if I'm like trying to get too technical with something and like forcing it, you know. So I have to be there too when I'm making it at some point in time for someone else to feel it. I think so.
Do your ears ever get tired? Do you ever like need space from music?
Yeah. I mean, I listen to music when I do yoga, but especially when I get off like tour and I'm just like constantly at a venue and just hearing music, I definitely like appreciate nature or, you know, not listening to music and just kind of like vibing out, at least for a day.
I've been listening to a couple audiobooks about music recently. I listened to this thing called Music in the Brain. It was theorizing why music can create such profound experiences, like psychological feelings. I'd love to hear you take a stab at that, about what do you think it is about certain arrangements of sounds that can have an effect on us, like tension and release, low frequency, and then high frequencies, different melodic hooks, how you think they affect the mind, and ultimately why you use them in your music.
I mean, I am not skilled enough in talking about the brain to be able to technically answer that question. But I think it kind of ties back to what I was saying about like what makes a good song is that like certain frequencies scientifically make you feel a certain way. There is technical science behind, you know, frequencies and how they affect your body and triggering other emotional parts of your brain. And receptors. I think as a creator and human being, I feel those things when I'm making something also, so it's like, it's a vibe.
I dig it. Well, Maddy, thank you so much for coming on the Weird Music Podcast here. What else can we be excited about that you have coming out this year?
Well, I kind of took some time off intentionally and didn't do like a big spring tour so that I could focus on writing. So I'm kind of working on a bigger project right now, whether that's an EP or a full-length album or an EP and then an album, or I don't know. We're gonna see how it all shakes out. But yeah, I've been working on a bunch of new music, and I'm in the let's finish it phase. I'm sitting on all those half finished projects. So I'm really excited about what I'm working on right now. I kind of feel like I've honed in on, the further down the road I've gotten, I feel like I'm kind of honing in on what my sound is. So it feels good to kind of like be in like a flow state writing and feeling like it sounds like me. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And I have a bunch of singles coming out over the next couple months. And then whatever this bigger project may be will come out after that.
And I'm sure there'll be a tour.
Yeah. I mean, I usually do like a big fall tour. I also have some really exciting festivals that I haven't announced yet, like full circle type shows. I'm actually curious when those are announcing. But yeah, I've got a bunch more festivals this summer that I haven't released yet too. So I'll be hopping around all summer long.
So for any of your fans who've listened through and are still listening now, any kind of like final direct message from you to them?
I just want to say thank you to everyone. This last fall was actually my first like big headline. It was a co-headline with Marvel Years, and I got to meet a lot of people on that tour, and just seeing the amount of people that came out was incredible. Even like post-pandemic, it was like that much more important, to have those moments with people and be back in a setting like that. So thank you to everyone for coming to the shows and for streaming my music and giving me that boost every day to keep telling me I'm on the right path. So it's kind of, it's a two-way street, and I wouldn't be able to create and do what I do without everyone else. So cheers to that.
You made it this far. Thank you for listening, and a big thank you to our sponsors, Hemp Relief CBD, SEM Tickets, Devil Wind Brewing, and Artillery Productions. We got links in the description below. Go check out all the awesome stuff they've got going on. And yeah, much love, everyone.